Hey, how's it going? And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Dorian mode. And this is going to be a two-part series. So in this video, I'm going to be strictly talking about how to play the scale and how the scale is constructed. And in the next video, I will be talking about the application of the scale, and I'll be giving you a few licks you can use in different scenarios with the Dorian mode. As I said, this video is going to be just about how the scale is constructed and how you can play it across the fretboard. There will be resources in the link in the description at my Patreon page, so go check that out if you want to print out some tabs and some chord charts. Let's get straight into it now. Okay, so we're going to be working in A Dorian today. The Dorian scale is the second mode of the major scale, so the A Dorian mode would be derived from the G major scale. The intervals within within any Dorian scale are root, second, flat third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and flat seventh. So in the case of the A Dorian scale, we've got A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now, the Dorian scale has its own unique characteristic note, which would be the sixth. So make sure when you're soloing that you recognize that the sixth is there and use it to your advantage to create more of a Dorian sound. Now let's take a look at how to play the first shape of the Dorian scale. And we're going to be starting on the fifth fret of the low E string, which is A. Okay, so on the low E string, we're going to play 5, 7, 8. Then on the A string, we're going to play 5, 7. Then on the D string, we're going to play 4, 5, 7. On the G string, we're going to play 4, 5, 7 again. On the B string, we're going to play 5, 7, 8. And on the high E string, we're going to play 5, 7, 8 as well. Now, the two notes you should be looking out for most are the root note and the major sixth interval. So the root note is at the fifth fret of the low E string, the seventh fret of the D string, and the fifth fret of the high E string. And where you can find the major sixth is the fourth fret of the D string and the seventh fret of the B string. Alright, so let's move to the second shape. So we are going to be playing 7, 8, 10 on the low E string. Then we're going to play 7, 9, 10 on the A string. Same thing on the D string, 7, 9, 10. 7, 9 on the G string. 7, 8, 10 on the B string. And 7, 8, 10 on the high E string as well. Alright, so the root notes that appear are on the 7th fret of the D string and the 10th fret of the B string. And the major sixes can be found the 9th fret of the A string, the 7th fret of the B string. Now let's move on to the third shape. We're going to start off by playing 10 and 12 on the low E string. Then we're going to play 9, 10, 12 on the A string. Same thing on the D string, 9, 10, 12. Then on the G string, we're going to play 9, 11, 12. On the B string, we're going to play 10, 12, 13. And then on the high E string, we're going to play 10 and 12. Our root note can be found at the 12th fret of the A string and the 10th fret of the B string. Our major sixth can be found at the 9th fret of the A string, the 11th fret of the G string. Now let's move on to shape number 4, and we are going to be playing 12, 14, 15 on the E string. Same thing on the A string, 12, 14, 15. 12, 14 on the D string. 11, 12, 14 on the G string. 12, 13, 15 on the B string. And 12, 14, 15 on the high E string. So our root note is found at the 14th fret of the G string and the 12th fret of the A string. And our major sixth can be found at the 14th fret of the low E string, the 11th fret of the G string, and the 14th fret of the high E string. Now we'll take a look at our fifth and final shape, and that is 2, 3, 5 on the low E string, then 2, 3, 5 again on the A string, then 2, 4, 5 on the D string and G string, then 3, 5 on the B string, and 2, 3, 5 on the high E string. And our root note can be found at the 5th fret of the high E string, the 2nd fret of the G string, and the 5th fret of the low E string. And the major 6th can be found at the 2nd fret of the low E string, the 4th fret of the D string, and the 2nd fret of the high E string. Now within the Dorian mode, we've got some chords available to us. So let's take a look at the chords that are available to us. So we've got an A minor. If we turn that into a 7th chord, we get an A minor 7. We've got a B minor. If we turn that into a 7th chord, we've got a B minor 7. We've got a C major. If we turn that into a major chord, we've got a C major 7. We've got a D major. If we turn that into a 7th chord, we've got a D7. We've got an E minor. If we turn that into a 7th chord, we get an E minor 7. We've got an F sharp diminished chord. If we turn that into a 7th chord, we've got a F sharp minor 7 flat 5. And then we've got a G major chord, which if we turn into a 7th chord, we get a G major 7. Now with the Dorian mode and creating chord progressions in any particular mode, it's a good idea to stay as much as you can on the tonic or the root note of the scale. So that would be A. I'm playing an A minor or an A minor 7. Okay? If we want to switch chords, this is not a rule, but generally works the best, is to switch to either the 7th degree of the scale or the 2nd degree of the scale. So either going back 1 degree or forward 1 degree of the scale. So, for example, we'd go from A minor to B minor, and then that would be our chord progression. Or we could go from A minor to G major. Now, as I said, that is not the rule. You can make chord progressions with all the other chords in the scale, but my advice to you would be to stay on that A minor as much as possible to keep the idea that we're in Dorian. A cool chord that you can play is a minor 6 chord. So we've got our 6th involved in our minor chord now. So we do that by playing the 5th fret of the low E string, the 4th fret of the D string, the 5th fret of the G string, and the 5th fret of the B string. And that chord alone sounds Dorian because of that major 6 in there. You learn all those shapes and learn the chords, and then once you're comfortable with those, you can jump into the next video, which I'll upload tomorrow if you're watching on the day of upload. But then if you're not, then you can just skip straight to the next video once you're done learning these scales. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know how it went on for you in the comments, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Don't forget, there's resources at my Patreon page in the description, so go check that out as well if you want to support the channel. I will see you in the next video.